This is the third small group discussion with J. Krishnamurti in Gstaad in 1965.
Who will set the ball rolling?
So we've been talking about things we don't know, and yet they have an influence on our thinking. But I think I experience for myself. There are things I even can't know deeper when I go into it, and I still don't know that they got an influence on my thinking too. Can we talk about it? Go into it maybe.
Being influenced?
Yes. I mean experiences and memory and things like that. When I go into it, I can find what it is, but there are other things. And I feel they are influencing me too. I mean the unknown in one's mind. My English is not so good, but that's what I mean. So the unknown part of one's mind.
Perhaps may I say something about it? I think that there are experiences, for instance, when you are asleep or when you have, by an accident, when you are in an unconscious state, then you can hear or feel things that which are in a deep layer of the unconscious, and you cannot discover them by going into your own mind, but they are somewhere and they can influence the person in when there is some time.
Are you suggesting, sir, that we're not able to go into the unconscious or penetrate in very deeply into the unconscious?
Perhaps it is if it is impossible, I don't know. But
And
it
is
it's
that
very
the question?
difficult.
Is that what
yes.
we're asking? All right, so let's tackle. Shall we talk about it? We're all willing to talk about that? Can we go very deeply? Not into the unconscious, but into the conscious. You understand what I mean? Do we know what the conscious mind is doing, or the conscious mind is aware what it is thinking, how deeply it's thinking, to what extent, what quality, and so on, so consciously? Are we aware of it? Is the mind aware consciously of the conscious mind? No. Therefore, how can we go into something, to the unconscious very profoundly, if we don't even know what the conscious mind is thinking? I don't know if Sir, come and sit in front, sir. The question is, can we go very deeply into the unconscious? But before we go into the unconscious, is the mind consciously aware of the conscious superficial part of the mind. I don't know, isn't it right? No, you don't get it? Before I can go very deeply into the unconscious, is it not necessary to find out what the conscious mind is doing? How it is activated, what are its motives, how it is influenced, how accommodating it is, whether it is resilient or merely static, whether it's functioning along a certain groove which has become a habit and therefore it's no longer thinking, but yet its habit is still established in the conscious. You follow? We have to know all that before the mind can penetrate deeper. That's the...
Is there such a clear-cut line between the conscious and the
No,
subconscious?
no. But at least, obviously not. But at least one has to understand the surface before we can go to the depth. Why the conscious mind? Is the conscious mind aware of its activities? Why it does certain things? Consciously, you follow? Not the unconscious part. Why it smokes, why it does so many accepted things consciously. If one smokes, it's not a deep unconscious problem. It may be. But does the conscious mind know why it is smoking? That it is caught in a habit? Why it is caught in a habit? Whether it's influence, you follow the whole cycle of it. The whole structure of smoking and take consciously. I don't see how you can go into the unconscious if we don't know how it functions consciously, in waking state, let's call that. What are its responses in the waking state?
So, perhaps the part of the mind does know that it's forming a pattern which may be bad for it, but a pleasure pattern starts to bring in in conflict with this other pattern.
Yes, but does it know? Is it aware of the area in which it is functioning? You follow what I mean?
It seems to me that one can understand it a little bit or from a certain aspect, but one can't grasp the whole thing. When I suddenly see how the mind functions, just at smoking, for instance, but one doesn't see it so fully that one stops smoking. Or that...
No, before it stops or doesn't stop, we are asking whether it is possible to go into the unconscious without knowing the surface activities.
But it's a question of how one knows the surface activities. One can know it in fragments.
Yes.
With the conscious mind, part of the conscious mind, or in some...
Or totally,
yes.
aware of the total area, not in fragments. Shall we discuss that first and then go into the unconscious, right? Shall we do that? Is it possible for the conscious mind to be aware of the total area of its own activities, the total, know all the corners of its own area? Or must it examine every fragment and then put the fragments together and then say, I'm totally aware? Right?
Well, as soon as one begins to look at the conscious, one discovers that it's influenced by all kind of unconscious.
So, how do you? Now this is, are you separate from the conscious mind, or only there is conscious mind within an area which is limited, and therefore, because of its limitation, you're conscious of it. I don't know if you're right.
What do you mean within an area?
Well, I think that's very simple. What do I mean by an area? Conscious mind. No, all right, let's begin again. What is the conscious mind? Going to the office, acquiring knowledge, establishing superficial relationships, thinking, feeling, rejecting, accepting.
Deliberate mental action.
Yes, deliberate mental activity within a certain area. I can't think about about Mars. I don't know what it is.
Of course, yes.
I can speculate, but it's no meaning.
It seems that maybe there's no conscious mind in the, as far as this is concerned, in the existential context. The fact that actually smoking, there's no awareness of it. But that's only in fragmentary retrospect.
No, we'll come to that little less smoking. First of all, we're trying to find out what we mean by the conscious mind.
Retrospect.
Huh?
Retrospect.
Retrospect?
If you're conscious of something, it's...
I'm conscious. Wait a minute. I'm conscious that you're all sitting here.
But you're not conscious that you are conscious, no?
I'm aware, conscious. The color, the way you sit, and what kind of clothes you have, whether you smoke, don't smoke, whether you this and that. 10 different things. I'm conscious of all this, am I not?
But there seems nothing which holds it all together. One may be conscious of things on different levels, different aspects, but there seems to be there's little relationship between the different. There may or may not be some relationship, but no very well. Consciously, there's no deep relationship
Deeper,
between
quite.
them.
So let's begin down differently again. I entered this room. I'm conscious of the proportions of the room, the people sitting in it, their clothes, the color of the carpets, the chairs. Conscious. I'm aware of all this. Then what happens? I dislike that color. I know that face. He has flattered me. He has insulted me. He does this. He does. I like that face. I don't like that face. All that comes in. There is the conscious awareness of the room, conscious awareness of the people in it, conscious perception or awareness of the seeing of the colors, and the various lights in the room, the chairs, the carpets, the microphone, the table, And then I take that into immediate glance. Then I say, I don't like this, I like that. Those are nice flowers, those are faded, I wish they're bad taste, good taste, the people who own this, they're not, and so on, so on, so on. Keep rolling. That's what actually happens. Now, proceed further from there. There's certain energy in demanded in doing this, right? Now, and the reaction is part of that energy. Now push that energy further, deeper. I don't.
The energy of perception or of reaction?
I've seen it. I've seen the color of the hair, this face, the eyes, all that. Then there are the reactions. Now, proceed investigating those reactions.
Well,
right?
in a certain sense, those reactions can be seen in the same way as one sees the things in the room.
Go on. I'm going to
Yes.
go on. I see why these reactions
Yes.
arise.
Yes.
Because I'm a middle-class bourgeois, or something or other, and I react to it. So I begin to discover my reactions are based on my conditioning, right? Not, I'm aware of this now from the outward movement to the inner movement. I'm riding a tide, which is the outer, and then I'm riding on that tide inwardly. I'm discovering how I'm conditioned, right? As an Anglo-Saxon, or as in Latin, or a Hindu, or is it? Now, proceed still, ride on it. All this has required certain energy.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And when I discover I am conditioned, that energy stops there, doesn't it?
Yes.
I don't know. Huh?
Yes.
But if I know how to break through that conditioning, I can go further. I don't know if...
Yes, normally one is unconsciously swept away by the reactions
Yes.
of various kinds.
Yes.
And how do you break through the condition?
We first see this. Wait a minute, sir. We'll go into it a little bit. Go step by step. Inch by inch, rather. Or millimeter, whatever it is.
So, what do you actually mean by conditioning? Do you only mean that one is conditioned by the way he's raised, by his parents? Or can one also say that one is conditioned by his character and things like that? I don't think that you can break through conditioning when the character plays a role in it.
I don't want to break through anything yet. I'm just begun to discover
Yes, I understand.
how I am conditioned. Then I'll proceed to find out how it has come about. Whether it's possible to break through. Right?
Yes, sir.
Whether it is inherited, acquired, all the rest of it. I'll proceed afterwards. But I haven't come to that point yet.
Excuse me.
No. I have to... You see, energy mustn't be wasted, right? Right?
Yes, sir.
I see energy operating when I observe, when I'm aware, right? When I saw the colors, the proportions of the room. Watch it very carefully. Watch this. I'm aware of the colors, people sitting in it, their faces, the proportions of the room, the light, the view, all that. Then begins the waste of energy when I say, I don't like this. And I do like this. Because the like and the dislike create a resistance. Right? Right, sir?
The only way to avoid this.
Ah! No. But you see, you're not watching it. You're not watching the operation of energy acting. Please, I must begin again. Sorry. One enters the room. Follow this step by step, inch, millimeter. You will see it yourself. I entered the room. There is no reaction yet. You follow? I watch. I watch all the faces, all the colors. That is energy flowing out, natural, right? But when there is a feeling of resistance, then it's a waste of energy. When I say I don't like that sweater, or I do like that sweater, or I say I wish I had it. Right?
Yes, sir.
Is it right to say that our awareness stays on that level at the time we have said I like it or dislike it?
No, our awareness is thwarted when there is like and dislike. You have blocked it.
It's blocked.
It's blocked. So, or it's blocked, or it's a waste of energy. There is a resistance to the flow of energy which started when it entered the room. Right? Now, let's go a little step further. That's clear, isn't it?
Right, you look at the sweater and you say, I don't like that sweater. But then if you step back and look at your not liking the sweater, then you're not locked anymore, are you?
No, but I want to do it before.
Before I dislike it.
Yes, but we're still on the level of liking or disliking.
No, I want to, first see that. See that it is a waste of energy.
Yes.
Stop there.
Right.
Then go into it and find out why you like or dislike, so as to remove all resistance. I mean, I may be wearing terrible red, and it's a natural reaction. Say how terrible that is. How not tasteful. You follow? And keep moving. I don't know if I'm conveying anything. Wait, let's begin. So, mind discovers its reactions. Right? Can you proceed from there? Right, sir?
Yes, sir.
Now, how do these reactions arise? Image? Yes, partly. And go into it, sir. Don't wait for me. I'm not the school teacher. Go into it.
So, for example, I remember another thing of the same kind, and I feel the same thing I always feel when I see, say, a blue sweater or a red tie or things like that. And every time it's the same, and it's every time coming back.
No, yes.
So I can be, I may know why. I always see the same thing.
We are going to it, madam. We are going to it. Wait, have a little patience. So the mind discovers its reactions, of which I've never been conscious. Right? I said I don't like it, and went on. But now I'm becoming conscious of it. Now, next, why do these arise? And why shouldn't they arise? You followed it? They arise normally because I've been brought up in a certain classical, Victorian, modern, or ultra-modern, objective, whatever it is. I've been brought up on that. And that conditioning is reacting. That conditioning is reacting, not a conscious reaction. I don't...
That's why it's so difficult to see it.
Let's stop there for a minute. It's the conditioning that is reacting, right? Not the conscious mind that says, well, that's a nice color.
But sir, what about the first time you had a reaction? For example, if we've gotten used to Shakespearean English, it's almost the basis of the English language. What about the first time the people heard Shakespeare? They had no conditioning, and yet they said, this is beautiful.
I wonder, no, Shakespeare or ancient, let's come down to modern times.
Let's say a man who has never heard jazz before hears a jazz record for the first time. This is beautiful.
Yes, or not.
Or not. But why does he say, isn't there a sense of beauty within a person?
That's quite a different question. That's quite a different question. Whether beauty is a reaction, a result of a stimulus, and if it is the result of a stimulus, it's dependent, and therefore not free, and therefore is it beautiful? You follow, sir? Yes. Don't come back. We'll extend all to that. We'll extend little later, but first let's lay the foundation. Right, sir? I'm not trying to convince you of anything. You know what I mean? Right. So so the mind realizes that it is reacting to a condition. Rather, the conditioning is reacting to certain colors, certain faces, to certain proportions of the room. Which is what? The past is reacting. Right?
There seem to be certain very basic conditionings which set off all the other ones.
Yes. We're going to discover it in a minute. So the past is reacting, not the conscious mind. I don't know, huh? Right, Jess? The conscious mind can look at it and say, well, I don't like that color. That's all right. But when the conditioning is reacting, of which I am not aware, of which the mind is not aware, then it's in resistance, then it's a waste of energy. Right? I don't...
Is it possible for the mind to be in a state very sensitive, where even if an unconscious conditioning comes up, it sees something is wrong?
Right. We'll come to that in a minute. So go slow.
Is it right to say that this conditioning is actually on the unconscious level?
We're going to find out, sir. Don't ask it. We're going to find out. So the past is reacting. And the past is not only the unconscious past, but the past of yesterday, which, as an experience, still remains in my mind. I don't know, right? Yesterday, you said something unpleasant to me. That has that it remains. And when I meet you today, that reacts. And the past is not only the yesterday, but 1,000 yesterdays. The country in which I was born, the food I have eaten, the climate, the clothes, the family, the tradition as a Brahmin, as a Hindu, as you follow, you as a Catholic, you as a Protestant. That's the past.
What do you mean by food?
Of course, if I eat nothing but meat all day, as some people do, no vegetables, no nothing, it conditions my thing, obviously. Right, sir? Look what I have done, what I have discovered. Entered the room, aware of all this, the reaction, and I discovered the reaction is not of the conscious mind, but of the past, of a condition, of an experience, of a knowledge, of an information, of something which somebody has told me. They're telling, which may be my father, my mother, my society, my neighbors, my community. The knowledge, and so on. So I've discovered that. Not because you have told me, but I see it. Now, I say to myself, is that past infinite? You follow? And I can't touch it. Or can I touch it? And why should I touch it? I don't know.
Sir, but after, when I'm being in that room, that same room after an hour, and when I'm remembering my first experience of my conscious functioning and the problems of projecting and so more, then in this remembrance is not the right first experience. The right first experience is away. It's only a remembering. Or it is
That's right. That's right, sir. That's right.
And then
the remembering becomes the conditioning, which is going to react. And that's why I said whether it is the remembrance of yesterday or 10 minutes ago or 10,000 years ago.
Then I must begin anew.
Wait, no, I can't begin anew till I have till the past has undergone a tremendous change. Right? Now, I must go very slow, otherwise we'll get lost again. So, I have this tremendous tale of 10,000 years, which is dictating which is reacting all the time, of which I am conscious or unconscious. The conscious reaction or unconscious reaction. When I become aware, when the mind becomes aware that it is reacting because of 2,000 years of Christianity, of a particular dogma, right? Then the problem arises. How is the mind to break through? Right? Not before. Before you, that's mere speculation, has no meaning. Right? But now mind has suddenly realized it is reacting to a past of 2,000 years. Right? as a Catholic, as a Christian. What's wrong with it? You follow, sir? What's wrong to... why should not react?
But when it is it possible that this experience is not becoming a new remembrance, a new
No, we come, sir, just look, sir. You have been brought up, we have been brought up as a Christian, Catholic, Protestant, all that, for 2,000 years. And that's my story. That's my history. What's wrong with it?
Because reacting causes conflict, and I see that it does. Otherwise, I'd be quite content with it going on in this way.
Yes. So what? What are you objecting to?
The conflict.
No, but listen. Are you objecting to conflict? I'm not saying you are not. I'm just asking. Conflict between what? Between the movement of modern times and the static movement of the past, which is something being added. Is that it?
Well, we try to avoid the pain.
Which is the conflict. The same thing. The conflict is pain.
So that the transcendence of the passion is still a function of the pleasure principle.
I don't know what it functions on. I just want to see how this conscious mind works. I won't come to that yet. Right? We started that. We started with trying to find out whether we are aware of the conscious mind at all. I don't know, you may not, I'm just saying you may smoke or may not smoke. Your habit of smoking is instant, you follow? Oh, the whole thing of which you are unconscious. It's become a habit and you do it. Now, there are maybe 1,000 habits of which you are unconscious, which is the past. Right, sir?
So I can follow you to a point where we say, just look at the conditioning, the reacting on what you are experiencing. But then it becomes, at least to me, it becomes very confused, because then the moment you see that,
are we not confused because you're using the word experience? What do you mean by experience?
I mean, maybe it's the wrong word, but I mean, what happens when you enter that room?
I entered the room. I watch it. Yes, the whole thing I watch.
Yes.
Then what happens? Then the reaction begins, don't they?
Sir.
Right?
I don't mean, maybe my word is...
yes, I'm just... the reactions begin.
Yes.
Then I discover it is not the conscious mind that is reacting, but the conditioned part of that mind which is reacting. And then there arises a question. Then the next step is all my thinking conditioned? Is all my behavior conditioned? And to what depth does this condition go? Right? And someone suggested, I become aware of the conditioning because of the conflict, which is pain. So, in order to avoid that pain, I want to get rid of my conditioning. Obviously. Huh? Suppose one smokes. One has smoked for 30 years, 20 years. It has become a tremendous habit. And doctor tells me, look, give it up. It's bad for your lungs. Because I don't mind dying young, or I want to give it up. You follow? Now, how am I to break it up? So that's one point. So now we come to the point, there is the unconscious. The unconscious is the past, which I have discovered through entering the room, the reactions to the past, and I discovered the past has tremendous weight on me. We are the past. Whether you are a communist, whether you are a socialist, whether you are a Christian or a Hindu, that is there. And why are we rebelling against it? Or do you accept it and keep on going? And if you rebel, why do you rebel? I don't know. If you accept it, say that's all right, I don't mind. When you say I don't mind, you have environment, circumstances which don't create too much trouble for you. You accept it. Living in a potty little village or a big town, you say, well, that's my state, and for God's sake, let's forget about all this stuff and carry on. You carry on as long as it isn't too disturbing. The too disturbing state is when there is effort, pain, anxiety. You follow? Then you want to break through. All right? Huh? Right, sir?
Well, I'm wondering whether it may be also that one feels an impulse to just investigate.
And then it becomes curiosity.
Yes.
And you can't go very far with it. Curiosity can be satisfied by reading a book by some psychologist. It has no value. As value, which has value when you go through it yourself. The mind begins to discover for itself, and it becomes much more significant. Huh? Am I pushing you away?
Well, I still feel there is a different I don't know, something different but maybe it's wrong to talk about it.
Doesn't the mind partly reject the unreality when it sees what it's doing? And it's almost seeing mirrors of itself rather than whatever it is, the reality or the fact or whatever. Doesn't the mind somehow rebel against that when it sees?
No, we're asking why it rebels. We can find out why it rebels. And why should it rebel? Is it rebelling against the whole conditioning or only one part of it which is not comfortable? You follow what I mean?
Isn't it rebelling against the process of the conditioning when it sees that in effect it's looking not at whatever it thought it was looking at, which is out there, but just almost as a projection of itself? Doesn't that?
Yes. So why are you rebelling? Why are you, why don't you accept and say it's all right and sit back? So what we're trying to find out is the rebellion another reaction, you follow? And therefore conditioning again. Right? Am I making myself clear?
Let me understand this question again. I go into a room, and I see something, I either like it, I have a tremendous
attraction
toward it, or dislike, repellence to it. Then this stands out in my mind. Right there, my mind stops. Then I ask the question, why is this?
I know.
But the minute
One generally doesn't ask.
Let's say it's real strong. So,
yeah.
So outstanding, I do ask. But the minute I ask, then my mind stops being aware of everything else. Because I have centered on this.
All right, so let's leave it for the moment. All right, then what?
Then, if I want to go into it and find out why, it seems to me that my other awareness would stop.
Leave it at all right, sir. Go on. Let's bother about the wider awareness. Go into it.
Then, if I would find out about this one
all right, one
thing,
one reaction which is very strong.
This could be contingent on all.
Maybe. Therefore, you go to discover it.
So, if I could go into this one.
How do you go into this one? It matters tremendously.
Yes.
Whether you are going through it because it is agreeable or disagreeable. If you are going through it because it is disagreeable and want to get rid of it, then you are. It will lead you to a totally different outcome. And if you say, I must understand it because it's painful or you follow, then it will also lead to another outcome.
So then the question is, how can I go into this?
Wait. That's just it.
So the question was, why do I rebel? Perhaps because before coming into this room, I thought I make an image.
That's obvious.
What I want it to be.
Would to be.
And
right.
this is conditioned by past.
By past. Or you have certain idea. Of course.
And then when I come into reality and life cannot be exactly what I want to
Of course not. The room is what it is.
So this rebellion is what I wanted it to be.
Of course. Of course.
Now he asks also, why do I rebel against the rebellion? Why do I rebel against the conditioning? When I discover that the conditioning is the past.
But it is also conditioning.
Sir, look. I rebel because it's painful. If it is pleasurable, I don't rebel. I accept it. I go wallow in it, move with it. Right? I don't call that rebellion, but I call the other rebellion. Right? So my rebellion or the pursuit or reaction is based on like and dislike. Very simple. I'm not trying to complicate the thing. So anything that pleases me, anything that is pleasing in my conditioning, I accept. But I don't say, where is it going to lead? What will be the outcome of it? But anything I don't like, I reject, I push it away. So what has happened? My rebellion is instigated by a motive of pleasure and pain. And whether it is the most subtle form of rebellion or the most infinitely subtle form of pleasure. The unpleasant experience I reject, the pleasant experience I keep. It's the same thing. So, when we talk about freeing, breaking through the conditioning, I must know what is operating. What is operating, whether it is the pain or the pleasure. Right? So when that is very clear to myself, that I like pleasure. And I don't like pain. And most of us are that. Because the great deal of us is still the animal. Because the animal, you know what the dog is, you can see it. It'll do anything if it is pleasurable.
Sir, excuse me, you say that the motive then quite often is the motive of pleasure. Could you distinguish between pleasure and happiness? To me, pleasure always meant something rather corporeal, rather of the body.
I know, I'm talking of pleasure of the mind, pleasure, or the whole structure of pleasure, not just of the body alone.
How would you distinguish between pleasure and happiness? Is it
Wait a minute. When you are aware that you are happy, is it, what happens?
One likes to continue it.
No.
There's no happiness at all. You're aware of happiness.
You end happiness.
Of course. It's gone. Then you say, by Jove, that was an excellent moment I had, and I want it. And there you go.
But sir, I don't want to make it more complicated. I feel something else. You say it's a question of pleasure and pain. But
No, I just, yes, continue.
I know
yeah.
But the moment one looks at the whole process we've been talking about, reaction, and therefore, why am I rebelling or not rebelling?
Yeah.
Well, I think there's coming in something else. You say you don't think, where is it leading me to?
No, I don't say that.
I feel that way. You say, why? Why is it always coming back? Why always? Why is this necessary? And then comes in, as I feel it at least, another conditioning. People saying you always want to do something else, you always want to change, and then you continue that way, and that makes another.
I know, quite.
And that makes it more complicated. It's not only the question of pain and pleasure.
No, what are we trying to do? What are we discussing now? Not you, but together, all of us. What are we discussing?
We've got to the point where we see that the reaction is taking place. We see that the reaction is memory, and we want to know what next.
We see our rebellion.
And we see that this is in the unconscious part of our mind. It's not deliberate.
Mm-hmm.
We want to see whether we have our approach to this reaction is again with pleasure and pain.
What's wrong with pleasure? Because somebody comes along and tells you pleasure breeds sorrow, and therefore you say, I want to get rid of it. Hey, don't do it, for God's sake. But why do we? What is wrong with pleasure?
You get stuck on it.
Huh?
It makes you stick to it.
Why shouldn't you stick to it?
It deteriorates.
You have to push everything to stick to that, and everything else goes.
Again, conflict.
No, wait, what? Go into it.
The pushing.
Why do you do it?
So I can get pleasure.
Huh?
So I can get pleasure.
So what are you doing? What? Huh? When you say it makes me attached to it, you know that attachment causes pain, disturbance, let's call it. And you don't like that disturbance, therefore you want pleasure. Or put it down the other, you don't want to be disturbed. And most of us don't want to be disturbed. Either by pleasure or by pain. Preferably, not to be disturbed through pain, but preferably to have little pleasure, but not too disturbed. But this is life. No? So we don't want to be disturbed. I don't want to be disturbed because I'm a Catholic, and if I'm disturbed in my doubts, in my belief, in my structure of my life, I may lose my job. I may not be able to marry my daughter. You follow? And so on, so on. Say, for God's sake, leave it all alone. It's not pleasure or pain, just I don't want to be disturbed. I have everything clear cut.
But then you're pushing that way too, then, though.
Huh?
Then you start to push to not let anything disturb you, just like you were pushing to get pleasure.
No, I'm not. I see pleasure is also painful in a certain way because I want lots of it and there is no end to it. And also I see pain is also I don't want. What I really want inside is not to be disturbed once I've established myself. Right? I'm happily married, quotes happily. And somebody comes along and says, runs off with my wife. What happens to me? I become anxious, despair. You follow? Which is, I say, I love her, which is not I love her. I don't want to be disturbed in that relationship which I have very carefully established, and leave me alone. Right? See what I have discovered. It's not only pleasure and pain, but still deeper is this desire not to be disturbed. To change a house. Huh? You understand? Exactly. To have different food which you are not used to. If you have no cigarettes, or no beer, or no sex, or no... You follow? So apart from pleasure and pain, there is a deeper urge which is not to be disturbed. And that's why we cling to our beliefs. Whether they are silly, foolish, unreal, I've got it. And not wanting to be disturbed, though life is doing everything to disturb me, and I can't face that life, therefore, in my security, I become neurotic. No?
Yes, but I'm not quite, I don't understand quite how that works. Because of this pushing and going over.
I can't face life, which is changing. It is all the time in movement. And I have got my belief, my dogma, my wife, my child, you follow? I'm closed in. Tight. So there is going to be a conflict. Tremendous conflict. And as I can't face that conflict, I retire. My God is the only God. Right? And I am lost. Huh?
And how do you get out of that?
Baby, don't get out. You're all wanting to get out.
It seems when one tries to stay.
It's not staying. It is watching.
Watching.
Just watch it. Don't try to, you see, sir, that's what I'm saying. Don't try to resist it. Don't try to run away from it. Don't try to resolve it. What to do? Just see what is taking place. Enter the room, the reaction, the past reacting, not any other thing. Then the past, which is the conditioning. That conditioning is based on pleasure and pain, obviously. And then I see, by Jove, beyond that, there is still this desire not to be disturbed once you have got something. I've got a reputation. And I don't want anybody to disturb it. Right? So, what matters to me and to you and to everybody is this having gathered not to be disturbed. Having acquired experiences, knowledge, beliefs, dogmas, which give comfort to me, I don't want to be disturbed. Right? Huh? Remain in it. If that's what we want, let us do everything to remain, to create a wall round us, to remain in that complete security, right? Right, sis?
Obviously, we don't want that.
I know.
Well, it's not really security.
So I'm going to find out. What I call security, is it security? Don't say no. Just watch it. So the mind holds on to something, whether it is real or unreal, factual or mythical, right? Huh?
What I call security is a construction of the mind.
Obviously.
And it doesn't exist, except I think it exists.
But it's good enough. It's good enough. I want security and I hold on to it.
It's the same. A man in the sea holding one thing that is nothing, and it drives him on with what he holds. It's not getting away, shifting, and he thinks he holds something, but he's holding.
No, but watch it, sir. So I see much deeper thing is involved. Not only pleasure and pain, but security. And that security can be false or actual security. You follow what I mean? Actual. Like a ship attack in harbour with an anchor. So the mind wants security. Right? Whether it is an illusory security or an actual security. It doesn't matter. Right? Right, sirs? Huh? Shall we proceed or? So why shouldn't it? So I say to myself, is there such thing as security? Very few of us question that. Right?
Impossible. There is no security.
Don't tell me. I don't know.
If you're willing to take false security for whatever good it is, do you then question?
No, obviously we don't. when a Catholic or a Muslim or a Hindu who is completely secure, or the communist in a certain pattern of thinking, and his jobs are connected with that thinking, he says, for God's sake, no revolution. Which the communists are saying in Russia. But the Chinese want revolution. So I see that. Let's proceed a little further, right? I see the drive in my activities is not only pleasure and pain, but the demand to be secure. Secure in my family, secure in my ideas, secure in my activities. In my real estate. Real estate outwardly, real estate inwardly.
We are afraid of the unknown. So
I don't know yet. Looks are go step by step. And yet I see what is happening around me. Wars, stock exchange going down, losing my job, right? My wife running away with somebody, my falling ill. So everything around me shows me that there is tremendous uncertainty. And yet I want certainty. Right?
You have to kill yourself to get certainty.
Huh?
You have to kill yourself to get certainty.
Why should I kill myself?
Because that's the only way to get stuck on something that makes you secure.
You know what's waiting.
No, I don't want to kill myself. I don't know what happens after. Why should I?
Secure if you're alive.
I'm going to find out. Wait. Go slow.
Can't you be secure in certain self-evident facts? Secure that is at least...
Yes, going to the moon, inventing the new gadgets, I can be very secure, but that is not security.
No, I mean secure in certainty that you exist.
What? Do you exist? All right, you exist. You exist, but in a state of this turmoil.
But at least you can be certain of one thing, that you exist.
What?
That's a start. Then you can be certain that a thing can't be true and
well, why? No. Do you exist apart from all your relationships? The food, the clothes, the shelter, the community, the newspapers, the memories. You follow what I mean? What do you call existence? A lot of words you're living on. Because as somebody said, you think, therefore you are. Huh? Wait, don't say that's not true. So, everything around us, you and me, is completely in a state of turmoil, right?
But I wonder, is everything?
But life is, watch it. So there are wars in Vietnam going on, those poor devils. The Americans and Vietnam, North and South. They're being killed, and they're, must it come next to you and create war before say, by your life is insecure?
But that's not the, that's rather outward, that's rather...
Wait, that's the outward things going on. So inwardly one creates certainties as a belief, as God, as my experience, I know. And I hold on to that. Obviously this is both outward security I want and inward security.
But do you create certainties or do you discover them?
You discover them because you want to be certain.
But if it's there, if it's reality...
What do you mean reality?
If it's reality that you exist and you see it and you're certain of it, and that's true.
All right, does that help you if you fall ill or if your wife runs away or something?
It does help you. Oh. Because even if your wife runs away, that is still superficial. If you fall ill, it is still of the body, but you can have certainties of the spirit.
are
now you know where we are. All right. Certainties of the spirit. Now, what do we mean, certainty of the spirit?
First of all, the fact that you exist is the beginning. And then...
Well, who existed from the beginning? You?
Is the beginning of certainty. Of your certainty. That's the first thing that you are certain of.
So, do you know, when a child is not certain at all, he wants to be certain. The one thing he dreads, from what they have written about it, is insecurity. The mother, you follow?
Yes.
Holding it, letting it walk, all that. There is at the beginning there is no certainty.
That's true.
So gradually we'll build it up. Because around us there is such immense uncertainty.
I wonder, do we build it up consciously or even unconsciously, or do we become aware of it?
Or we build it up consciously or unconsciously, or the religions or the community or the state or the new society plants that idea into us. I accept there is a soul. Because we have lived 2,000 years in that belief, and I accept it. And that gives me tremendous comfort.
Until you're 18.
Yeah, of course.
And then you start to question it.
Wait, that comes much later. You question and then join the communists. There it is. Another certainty. So, go a step again. Reaction, the past, the conditioning reacts, and that we discover that conditioning is the past, and the past with all its experiences, pleasure and pain, and still deeper, one sees by Joe, mind is always wanting certain things. And then we say the factual certainties and the mythical certainties. Don't commit suicide, but just watch it. Just watch it. Watch the whole process that's going on in us. So, you say, by Jove, is there certainty at all? Not that I want it. Of course you want it. But is there certainty? In your wife, in your clothes, in your money. You follow what I mean? Or inwardly. Therefore you come to a point, you see that there is no certainty. Why don't we accept that? Which is a fact.
Why do you say there is no certainty at all?
Huh?
Why do you say there is no certainty?
Well, I'll explain, sir. Is there certainty? I want permanency. The permanency may be the soul, permanency may be the bank account, permanency may be my relationship with my wife. I want the permanency of a job. You followed it? Which is a permanent continuity in which there will be no disturbance. Is there such state? I like it. A marvelous state. But is there such a fact?
Of the mind, I think.
Of the mind, of anything. Is there a constant certainty? Constant permanence, which is never disturbed. So I've established that permanency as the God, as the soul, or belief, ritual, 10 different things. So can the mind, which has been trained for centuries to seek certainty, and moment, it doesn't matter whether it's illusory or, and all certainty is illusory. Of course. And hold on to the illusion. Can that mind which has sought certainty and established certainty in illusion, can it now say, no, sir, see the truth, how absurd all that is? Then if I see the absurdity, when the mind recognizes the falseness of that, then what happens to your mind that has no certainty at all? It doesn't commit suicide. It doesn't create other forms of, more subtle forms of security. Right? Now, a mind that is certain is not seeking certainty, can never be free. But the mind that understands that there is no certainty is free. And therefore it's quite a different dimension.
So could I ask you, is there any certainty in such things, for example, as mathematics? That 2 and 2 is 4?
Obviously.
Isn't that certain?
No, that's obvious. Sun rises and sun sets, you see it. You don't, that's not certainty. But you can make certainty out of that. For psychologically, inwardly. No.
Well, would I be wrong in reasoning this way, or feeling this way, is uncertainty seems to come about very rapidly, continually. And if I'm conscious of that, this more or less puts me in a state of acute awareness.
And also, sir, doesn't it make, if you are not certain at all, doesn't it bring about a world, a society, in which this obvious physical certainties are necessary?
You say where they are necessary or not necessary?
Are necessary. Right? You understand, sir?
No, I
watch it. Quite.
Say that again.
We need physical certainties. We need a physical continuity. Food, clothes, and shelter. I need that. We must have that.
Right.
But psychologically, I use those to be certain inwardly. Right? But if there was no, if I see the whole structure of certainty to be erroneous, false, then my relationship to things will be much more clear. Much more true. Therefore, I won't use the things to gain prestige or status which will give me certainty. Also very simple. I'll use things functional, as a function. Right?
Sir, one could take...
So live with this for 2 minutes, see how extraordinary. Look, sir, nationalism is a form of security. Right? No? That security is preventing the feeding of the millions. No, it's obvious, no? India is starving, food, backward, and all the rest of it. And there is whole Europe and America. But India says, you know what's happening, nationalism. So I don't have to explain all this. It's too obvious. So if I'm not a nationalist at all, then what happens? Then I'll spend all my energy to create order physically, won't I? Oh, come on. Sir. No?
Monsieur, le fait de comprendre qu'il n'y a pas de sécurité se fait. La compréhension elle-même est quand même le fruit du passé.
Non, au contraire. Attendez. Do everybody understand what he said?
Yes, sir.
Translation, sir.
He says the fact of understanding that there is no security is in itself the result of the past.
Now, so you're saying is understanding the result of the past. Huh? Is it? Look, sir. The fact is, I want security. And the fact is also that there is no such thing. I might die tomorrow. That's the end of it. So there are two obvious facts. The fact that I want security and the fact that there is no security. So there is a conflict between the two. And I reject what is real and accept what is to me fanciful. No? No. When we use the word understanding, you are asking, is the understanding the result of the past, or it is disassociated from the past? N'est-ce pas? Is that right? What is it? Is understanding of time or not of time? Put it down differently. Vous comprenez ce que je veux dire?
Mais je comprends. Mais ce désir qui est en ces personnes qui sont ici, de comprendre les faits, d'acquérir une véritable compréhension, qu'il ne soit pas seulement intellectuel, qu'il soit intègre. Ce désir, il est en nous, n'est-il pas le fruit du passé?
No, sir. Wait, look. I understand.
C'est une autre question, c'est une question différente.
Non, je ne pense pas à ça.
Vous vous demandez maintenant si le désir de compréhension est le fruit du passé. Vous avez demandé la première fois si la compréhension était le fruit du passé.
Mais parce que les deux choses se touchent.
Oui, d'accord.
Ah, je me demande, est-ce qu'ils se touchent? Attendez. No, we'll have to investigate. We'll have to find out what we mean by understanding. Yeah? What do we mean by understanding? I understand there is no security. I understand fire burns. I understand that jealousy is painful because my wife looked at somebody else. So when we talk about the word understand, what do we mean by it? I understand it verbally, intellectually, or it is so. Which is it? wets me. The fire burns me. I am jealous. Now, and when I use the word understand, am I using the word in the context of memory, or am I using the word outside of time? I don't know if I'm making myself clear. Ça va? Ça va? Bien. Now which is it? If it is within the context of time, it is merely an acceptance and has nothing to do with understanding. So I feel understanding is not related to the past. I understand something immediately, which is not related to the past at all.
Oui, mais nous connaissons des états qui ne sont pas vraiment. Ce n'est pas notre vie n'est pas une compréhension.
Chaque instant.
À chaque instant.
Bien.
Nous comprenons.
Ça veut dire quoi? Ça veut dire, n'est-ce pas, que vous êtes attaché à la passé, alors ça réagit. Si vous comprenez toute la structure de passé, et il y aura tout à fait une autre dimension.
Is it that the mind can never understand?
Oh, no. Again, wait a minute. What do we mean by the mind? That's why one has to be awfully careful. What do you mean by the mind?
The mind, which is the memories of the past.
Which means what? The mind is the total entity in which there is the past, the memories, right? Right. Do you understand through words, through memory? Which is what he's saying. No. So a different function comes into being, which is a total function, not mere memory. Well, so Gildi. So where are we? Yes, I know where we are. You see, sir, how extraordinary. I came into the room, the reactions. The reaction is of the past. It is now. It is the picture. You follow? It is the. It's actually have done this, not just as an idea. And I see the past reacts. The past pleasure and pain, and beyond that there is the desire, there is the urge to be certainty, and I establish that certainty whether at any price, actual or not actual. So what is to me is important, what is important is the feeling of permanency. And I ask myself, is there permanency at all? Which doesn't mean I'm going to jump in the lake. Is there permanency? And I understand there's not, I want to be certain, and there is no permanency. I see there is no permanency at all. I don't. Not, I want to be certain, and I'm so sorry to give it up. Therefore, because I can't give it up, and life is uncertain, therefore I'll go and throw myself in the lake. But if I see altogether there is no permanency, then I'm in a totally different state. No?
How does one see it?
Huh? How does one?
How does one see the sensibility?
Ah. How does one see the total fact of uncertainty? How do you see anything, sir? How do you wait, look out of the window? Do you see totally?
I don't know.
No, why not? Or do you see only inattentively? You're pulling your moustache. No, I'm not being personal. I'm not being personal. And you're looking at that mountain, putting your. Are you attentive? No, obviously not. So you don't see it totally. You're thinking. One is thinking of something else and looks at the mountain. It's lunchtime. There's hunger, and you say, "By God, we should get back to food. Let's look at it." So there is divided attention all the time. So to look at that, you must give your complete attention, which is very which is extraordinary, an act that demands complete energy. So to see the total uncertainty of life and of oneself demands an extraordinary awareness and attention, which is from the beginning of entering the room to that.
But sir, one would produce this energy and awareness as a result of wanting to be liberated.
Oh God, no, that is deadly.
Of course, but the point is, once you see that every function of the mind as such is dependent on this thing, then there is no motive to change.
No. The motive for change is no change at all.
Exactly.
Therefore, stop there. What happens? Moment you see that any action of change through motive is no change at all, which is a fact, which is the truth, like the microphone, then you are in a different movement altogether, which is not which has no motivation. Of course. You must stop.
I have one question about that business that I've thought about a lot, about this India. You talked about the feeding.
Yes. That's India or China, the whole Asia.
Well, the question that enters the mind is if you've been to a place and seen this, especially, and which is a fact, is the more you feed, more come on. Then you feed more, due to religion and things, more come on.
So you have to, what do you do? Feeding, sheltering, clothing is the occupation of world, not just one group.
I see that. But then the problem of space comes in.
Therefore, birth control. And so, you follow? So it is not one thing separate by, it must be done totally.
I see that. But when it comes to that birth control, of course, then that's the battle with religion.
Don't. Religion, poverty, prejudice, you follow?
Sure.
Oh. Let's stop, don't you?